Okay, 1, 2, 3, we're on. Sorry out there, we had to readjust this camera. So we're back. Welcome to Thursday night again, and welcome everyone here. See some familiar faces, and it's great to have you back. So we are going to talk about today, start the topic with when to help and when not to help, and who should you help and who not to help when. So of course we all want to help. And why do we help? It's not just our heart that we think. What happen? I don't know if you've heard of mirror neurons. And these neurons actually make us feel the same way as somebody else is feeling. All humans have it, everybody has it. So it was only, I think, in the 90s that we started to research the mirror neurons. So they give us the ability to empathize. So it's not just a heart emotion you've learned, it's your physiology, because it's actually neurons that that dictate this emotion. So it's quite interesting. So it's not like I'm big-hearted, but you will be actually feeling what others are feeling. So it's quite, so we can say that at some level that psychologically and physiologically, we're all bonded. We are actually connected at the hip. So we can't escape each other. What you feel, I will also feel. But now my response may be different. So if I am mindful, more aware, then I can choose my responses. Otherwise, I will start to feel that what you're feeling and instantly jump at something like get influenced by you also. So it's very important to realize that mirror neurons, they help us understand each other, they help us connect with each other, and so you're empathetic. So that's what it means. But it's so important then to have your awareness in place, so strong awareness about what you need to do. So helping each other is part of our physiology, our psychology. So we can't help not help. So that's really important. So we don't have to feel good, I'm such a good person. You know, they say, do noble things, do that. Well, you're going to be doing it anyways. You can ignore it at times, but you will be feeling what others feel. At some point, you will join in and mirror them and come together, bond together. So it's quite interesting that this is just part of you, and you will feel each other. So you can have also now a deeper understanding how they feel. So you can almost put yourself in their shoes. So that's not a second behavior pattern, put yourself in others' shoes now. It's happening normally to us, right? So it's quite beautiful that even our behavior patterns that we were thinking we are adopting better behavior patterns, that just may be part of our psychology and physiology, normally what we do. So my post from last few days was about who not to help. And that came up in many cases where people, of course, offer help, but somewhere they cannot sustain themselves with that, giving that help. So maybe they get tired, or maybe because of this, the mirror neuron, they start to feel too much of that, right? So when we give to somebody else, when we help somebody, what is happening there? So we are energetically giving, sharing our time and our space. Not just that. We're emotionally actually giving. We are physically giving. And we're mentally giving. And also at a deeper level, you may say spiritually that karmically also you're becoming one with them. You're kind of bonding yourself even karmically. And that's important to know. That's really important to know. So I have seen many healers, whether they were masters of healing, that come down themselves, and somewhere that even though they do a lot of protection, they fall. because of so many times helping and putting themselves out. So it's very important that if you're helping someone to get help yourself. But you certainly don't want to help somebody who's not helping themselves. So this was what the post was about, that if you have somebody who certainly is not interested in helping themselves, so you're suggesting different things, you're offering different remedies, and they refuse to take any action. So, it's also interesting that we want a change. We want the situation to change somewhat, but to what we wanted to change. A lot of people don't want wholesome change. They don't look for a healthy change. They just want to change something to something that will serve them better. So it's about them. So it could also be at the cost of others. That becomes irrelevant because a lot of people only want that one thing, and that's the change they need. And that is where you have to step and be very mindful that, do you want to go there with them on their journey? Like, how far do you want to reach out on that kind of journey? Now, there were so much feedback on this, that what do we do if a person is depressed? So first of all, if a person is depressed, it's a mental health issue. So if they're repeating something, they're not going to be able to listen to you. They're not going to be consoled really, maybe for a few seconds or just a little while, but they do need professional help. And I've found that when people actually have friends they talk to, but they have mental health issues, then it's very important to actually stop that process. So they're able to look deeper and maybe even dive into the suffering issue more so they can get professional help. A lot of people just sustain themselves by talking to friends, and I think that that's okay. But the friend cannot help. So sooner or later, the friend also is now feeling the effects of what they may be going through. So when we feel the stress because we are helping somebody, we are in the company of stress, my stress may not show up as the person I'm helping as their stress. It may show up in another field, totally another field, financial field. It can show up in your relationships. So person may have a health issue, but in your life, when you do it without mindfulness, it could really take a toll on you. So if the person is sick, they need professional care. Another thing is, if the person is depressed and really needs to talk to you, then you're not actually scratching your head and looking for ways to help them. You know that it's not probably the situation they're upset about, it's a mental health, how they perceive the situation. So usually you will step back and you're not putting yourself out so much because you know that you cannot change that situation unless they start to see it differently. And for that, professional help is needed. So another place where actually we need to just watch, because what happens is that a lot of us need all kinds of experiences. So we need positive experiences, and then we need some negative also. We need to be pushed. We need to be shoved into a corner because we can think differently. Now, when people jump in and start to save you, you're not feeling so pushed, you will not get the right help also, professional help. There was a very interesting this is about also work. When, for instance, you have an employee and the employee is not able to comprehend or get there where you want them to be, what are you going to do? You're not going to talk to them every day, are you? You're going to put them in a training class, retraining, learning something, right? So this is very important. If you're helping, then learning goes side by side. So if you could actually refer a YouTube video, you could give them a meditation. But if they're not using anything, taking anything, then you know they're not looking for that kind of help, what you can give. Now move back, let it collapse a bit, so then they will probably find some way out. Another example in the health field was, in my case actually, I had had surgery done, and the surgery went really wrong at the hospital. But the hospital released me maybe 10 days later, not realizing that I was severely infected. So I had lots of symptoms going on, and we didn't know. So the doctor, even the surgeon, said, oh, it could just be a virus you picked up after the surgery. So nobody thought of actually getting it seen into. And of course, I couldn't also get there. Because I know so many healers, a lot of help came for me. And many Reiki masters, many other people came to the house because I couldn't move from the bed. I was coughing, blood. It was really bad. So there was a lot of healing. So the healing would actually make me feel a bit better for the time being, energetically, but it would collapse again. It wasn't till almost much later that this Reiki grandmaster came one day, and she said, nobody's going to help Ruby because we are interfering in her process. There's something else going on. Let's not interfere. But nobody had that wisdom except her. So she said, no, let us watch. We will just stay back and let it unfold because there is another issue here, right? So, of course, when they moved back, I collapsed more. And then all of a sudden, a friend of mine had a dream that she saw me really sick, and she jumped into a car 11 o'clock and came over and took me to the emergency. So it all worked out, and I was in hospital for a long, long time. 2 corrective surgeries later, it was fixed. So what I'm saying is that we all want to help. We feel this compassion, and we feel the pain of others. But it's very important to know when just to step back. Just step back. It's really important to know that. So there were also, like I said, a lot of feedback on it, and a lot of work situations where actually there's a complaining culture. So what happens is you're just letting out off your steam, really. So people get tired after a while listening to someone who's just, letting off their steam for the day, because that comes into your auric field too. So I think it's okay to actually sometimes say no if you can't do it. It's very important to know your boundaries, your own state of health. And you can only be mindful if you have that deep level of awareness that it's now entering your skin. It's in your skin. You're feeling the emotion too, and you're feeling stressed. So it's really important to know that when to back off. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I've always found that it's not actually cruel, but I really think that it's kindness to me when you move back and allow the situation and the person to then be forced to figure out some answers for themselves. Because even in the spiritual field, when we jump in with all this information and answers and giving them all the ways out of that situation, I have not seen it helps anybody. People don't really listen to you. But if they, it's almost like you have to be at the deep end sometimes, and then you're able to grab onto something. So it's wisdom. It's actually being kind also means that being ruthless, like very strict and mindful about what's happening. Yeah. So does that clear that? Or
I think there is spiritually we always talk about there's only one reason for that, is that either the person is karmically not ready or karmically not entitled to be healed. He has to go through some of those karmas, and nobody can escape it.
Yeah, and we don't know what their karma is. So how do you know? Because we don't know their soul print, their pattern. We're guessing, right? So it's really hard to, absolutely, because when you become one in the karmic field, what happens is that you then join your destinies with them. And then you're living the effects partly of that joint destiny too. So unless you've really figured out yourself and your mind, and you know exactly where you're coming and where you're going, so it's very clear to you. So it's very important that if you want to join destinies, then do it mindfully, do it intentionally. Don't let it just happen to you, right?
That becomes difficult
I
when
may
it's
say
our
something.
children,
Yeah.
when it's our kids. When do we step in to help our kids, or is it a part of their karmic journey? It's kind of
Kids actually are part, you've created them. So it doesn't matter at some point, but when they become adults or they start to think for themselves, and if you're telling them all the time, you're trying to help them out of situations that they're getting into, they're not going to listen that much, because you have to almost move back a little bit and allow them. So it's really hard to know when to really step in and when to step out. Sometimes you have to forcibly come in with children, because it depends what age they are at, what their maturity levels are. So kids, you really have to be hands-on, and you can't use these philosophies on kids. Yeah. So it's really, you have to just be present there with the kids, watching them, what's happening, and then sometimes allowing them, sometimes letting them cry, sometimes butting in and not allowing. So it depends situation to situation. But it's never a time you will not know. It's like, I don't think parents can go wrong. Yes, they do at times, but they're doing their best, right? So there's a lot of unpredictability there with children as to how they will come up, how they will unfold. But as far as I'm concerned, parents definitely need to be there, encouraging them, inspiring them, and also joining hands sometimes with things they want to do. So it shouldn't just be a strict parent. It should really be like like co-partners parenting, where the child also is telling so some dialogue is established where the child can actually talk to the parents about their problems. It's never easy, by the way, because parents belong to another generation and kids to another. So this problem has been there forever. And it will continue to be. There's no right way or no wrong way, really, to do this. So, but when they're adults, that's more predictable now. That's when you can actually move back a little bit. And also, and sometimes what happens with teenagers or even kids who are 20 sometimes or over, you're supporting these kids through their crisis, but it's very important to back off, that the message is really clear that you will not stand with them on certain habits. You're standing with them, but not supporting that. So that message has to be really clear. So if that means withdrawal of monies, if that means withdrawal of your time, then you have to be strong enough and take that stand. But with younger children, I would be foolish to advise you, because it's just, every case is so different. Yeah. So it's, I just want to bring up something that came up through this as feedback about duality. And a lot of people use language, of course, to describe something, but the language has its own boundaries. So I find that duality word, a lot of people say, oh, there's duality there. Oh, there's ego there. Yeah. So ego is this dark, whatever monster somewhere that's hiding within your head, who is sleeping with you or in your head, who we can see, and just creeps up. So that's not fun. That's not fun at all. So I've always resisted words like ego myself, because what the hell does that actually mean? Because if we're going to use language, then we need to understand and be a bit more articulate that this is going on. Just because I don't like you, I cannot say she's egoistic, right? So duality is also as natural to us, and this again is your physiology and your psychology. It is because that's how we think. It's not like we got it out of ignorance. Duality exists always. So this gives us choices. This gives us experiences of many dimensions. So I can actually move here, I can move there. So there's nothing wrong as such. Duality is natural. And another thing that's really natural, and if you notice, again, projecting your thoughts, projecting your emotions is most natural for us. Now, when we project judgment or envy or jealousy, in religious terms, it may not be that great, right? That you are envious. And why do people do that? A lot of times because they actually are they're not happy with somebody else having this that they don't have. So they express anger, they express frustration, or they may express jealousy. So all these emotions. So what I want to say about that is that if we didn't project our thoughts and our emotions, how do we know that we even have them, that they exist within us? So we must not tell people to stop this and stop that and don't do that, because that's the only way they know that it exists. Because when you say it, when you speak it and express it, you know, oh yeah. But now, if I'm finding that that person I'm feeling jealous of, then I may want to take the second step, not just stop that that person has jealousy or that person is negative. I should at some point come back to myself too. That where in me, because it came from me, I had a big charge around it. I had a huge emotion around it. It was not just in my psyche, it was in my body the way I felt. So I have that obligation and responsibility to myself that I need to come back and examine that. Where in me is this seed? So if I'm feeling lack of something, right? Or if I'm going to offer anything out there, any opinion, and if there's an emotional charge in me, I owe it to myself to come back to me. So I want to actually allow that, give that freedom to people to express what they need to. Don't curb that part, because you'll never otherwise understand what's in you. And if you have not seen it in you, you will keep judging and you'll be split. So you'll have this state of almost like either repressed or a lot of unknown that you have not seen in you. So you're partial, we're not whole, right? And partial people, what do? We are fractured then. And we are danger to society and danger to ourselves. So it's not pretty being ignorant. It's not pretty actually in this day and age when so much information is available to sit and not do a thing about how you feel inside. It's really important for every person. You don't have to be spiritual. Every human being should be able to examine that yes, this is what I'm projecting, where in me is that, and have a look at it. Have a look at it. And when you have a look at it, you become mindful of it, right? That energy changes shape and design and something else comes. It's a lifelong thing. All our life, this is not spiritual work. It's not mental work. It's human work. Every human should be looking into their head. And we cannot just be mindless and headless. And that's really important in this day and age, because we are really sharp. There's no reason we cannot get to know ourselves. There's no excuse not to know ourselves. I have found in my work that a lot of people who pretend not to know themselves are hiding something. They're afraid of something. They have some little crooked thing going or something going, and people may not recognize it, but they can't get there because they have fear. So it's not like fear of outside. We have fear of ourselves because somewhere we feel we may have done something wrong or something not right. Okay? We feel we'll find this state. How will we deal with it? But there's nothing there. Everything actually is visible. And if it's visible, you can look at it. If you can look at it, you can actually alter it and change it. But if you can't see it, there's no change possible. Change doesn't happen outside. It must happen inside your head, inside the psyche. So I think this message, from the feedback I was getting, I thought it would be important to share this, that a lot of things were that we shouldn't be doing in the 80s or 90s, 2018, it's okay. Take it easy. It's okay. Yeah. So if it's okay for you, it's okay for somebody else too, right? So that makes our world easier. So anything here, or we start with the meditation? It's time for meditation. Okay, and then we can see if there's anything we need to bring up or talk about after. So today we will do, let us do Dharan Kriya again. And Dharan Kriya is a guided meditation. It's done with rainbow light. The sound we use is not Om. The sound we use is Ma in this meditation. It's fully guided. Do not check out on me. Do not go to sleep. And there's no thought more tempting than right now doing this Kriya, this meditation. So stay exactly put, stay in your body, and do not leave, no matter how many angels or heavens are calling you out there. So close your eyes, nice smile on your face. Take a nice deep breath, almost going from head to toe. So do this about 3 times. You're fully present. Fully alert, fully conscious, mindful. You have come here with reason to connect with your unknown dimensions, connect with the soul. And as we start today, I want to call upon the enlightened masters, the sages, the prophets, the gurus, and the guides. Let them appear to every person here, and let each and every person here receive the wisdom in the silence of their own being. As we go deeper into the silence, let the wisdom emerge. That is what I ask today. So know you're guided, you're protected, you're absolutely safe. I want you to place your attention on the tongue. All attention on the tongue. Slowly, gently, take in the saliva as it builds. Great. Visualize beautiful, vibrant rainbow light, healing light on top of the crown. Allow this vibrant light to go into the left brain. So feel almost like beautiful, cool, liquid rainbow light filling up trillions of cells on the left side of the brain. Great. Visualize the rainbow light going in the right brain now. And with your mind's eye, make sure both sides of the brain are equally lit. So light and weight is the same. You're not working hard. It's simple imagination. Great. Allow the light to go down the neck into both the shoulders, left side, right side. Shoulders may feel heavy, let them drop. Light and weight to be the same in both the shoulders. Great. Light going down the body into the hips, left hip, right hip. Both hips to be equally balanced, light and weight the same. Liquid light in both the hips. They may feel heavy, sinking into the ground or the sofa. Let them do so. Great, you're doing beautifully well. Everything is just as it should be. Feel the rainbow light coming down the legs, into the feet, left foot, right foot. Feet may tingle, pulsate. Feet may feel heavy. Allow the light to go down the arms, into the hands, both hands, and you can place your hands on your thighs, facing up, both hands to be filled with rainbow light. Awakening the healing centers in mid-palm, all fingers, palm, hands filled with rainbow light. Hands may tingle, pulsate. It's all okay. Great. Allow the light now to move from head to toe, your entire body filled with this glowing, glittering rainbow light, head to toe. The body is lit up. At this time, we'll place our intention. I want to be whole and complete. I want to live a fulfilling life. I want to express my fullest potential here and now. Great. So you can raise your hands a little bit, facing you. And we'll do 3 rounds of Ma with a nice deep breath each time. Listen to the sound of your voice and feel the vibrations of your sound. Loud and clear. Ma. Reaching into the space through the aura, one more beautiful sound of Ma. Ma. Great. One more. Beautiful. Bring those hands down, facing up on your thighs. Remain within. It is natural for thoughts to pass. You may start thinking. If you do, come back gently to the physical presence you're feeling in your body, to the vibrations of the body. The body is absolutely silent, just the resonance of silence. Since you can watch your thoughts, you realize you're not just the thoughts. Not just the emotions. Let the watcher become one with the physical presence. The watcher is rising from this presence, moving back into it like a loop. Stay present. remain in silence. I'm going to repeat a chant. Each time I repeat it, you will go deeper into the silence where you can receive healing. Om Namo Shiva. 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 focus on the heart now. Rhythmic breathing. Body is still very silent. Rhythmic breathing, meaning equal inhale, equal exhale, soft, gentle breathing. Slow down the breathing slightly. Project this beautiful rainbow light from your heart and body into the children of the world first. Let there be no child without a smile. Let the children be fed, protected, loved, guided. Feel this light going into the hearts and the bodies of children, making them smile. Let them all wake up with a smile. Send this light to all humanity. Let all the beings be aware, alert, conscious. Send this light to the plant life, animal life, sea life. Let this planet be in balance, harmony, and peace. Let it be protected. Send this light into the universes beyond. And let this light come back into you, again merge into your being, as if the universe and everybody you have sent light to is sending it back to you many folds. So contain this light in your body and breathe from the heart. You want to be free. Let it not be at the cost of someone else. You want help. Let it not be at the cost of others. We finish this meditation with 3 rounds of Ma. It's a nice deep breath each time. One more. Before you rub your hands, I want you to gently just take both your hands and rub them down the shoulders, holding on to the state, remembering the state very gently. You can come back to that state at will. The body will remember it. The mind knows the way. There. Now you can rub your hands. And 3 times go head to toe, touching yourself, blessing yourself. And I would like to, in closing, also share, because we have the mirror neurons, we can change and we can create a change very effectively. So if you take responsibility, when you take responsibility for yourself, and you can hold on to these states of peace and presence, then remember you're affecting everything else also. So if it's children, if it's sick people, if it is the world outside, you are able to create the effect because you have what it takes to create the change. So hold on to the state. Call it going in, call it meditation. This meditation was Dharan Kriya. It's on YouTube, and it's quite profound. It was channeled to me many, many years ago, and it's very healing. So you can repeat this, but remember the power. You don't need to do a thing to change. You need to be the change that you want to see outside you. So we have a few minutes. We can actually just share some experience, or anybody wants to share, or are we okay? Was the meditation going in deep? Was it deep, Rohit, for you?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done the Kriya. I haven't done it for a long time, and so it was very familiar, and so I think it was easier for me because it was familiar.
Okay.
And I sort of knew the path. Otherwise, I think I tend to overthink.
Oh,
This one, just because I think years ago we did this every time.
yes, we
were
did
doing
it. Yeah,
So I think it was very familiar.
yeah,
And so that was really good.
Yeah.
It was easy to really just focus on the relaxation side of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't challenged by the visions.
no new visions.
No new
I
visions.
promise not to introduce anything
You
new.
did say something that threw me off,
Yeah.
which was you started talking about the Watcher.
Oh,
You never used to talk about the Watcher.
oh my God. Okay.
So I was so
The
upset.
observer.
Yeah, you called him the Watcher.
Yeah.
So that took me off.
Okay.
Then
You had to think
I
who
had to, who the Watcher?
the hell
Where
is this
Where
watcher?
did the Watcher come from? I'm doing Dharan Kriya. So then I jumped, then I caught up.
Yeah.
And you-
Yeah. Okay. Observer. Whatever. Beena, this is the big M. The meditation. Somewhat. Somehow it leads there. Were you able to follow a bit?
The breathing it's really hard, but once you said to slow the breathing down,
Yes. Yes.
you know, I consciously felt that it was slowing down,
Yeah,
which,
yeah.
which was quite nice.
Yes, yes.
And I just found the whole thing, I didn't think throughout the whole, you know, when the eyes were shut,
Oh,
that was
okay.
really nice.
That was big for you.
Yeah.
I thought so, because you probably are a thinking person. Yeah, so what happens? Where did the thinking go? Where? Who stole our thinking?
It was quite nice though to have an empty head.
Okay, empty head. Yeah, yeah. So where did the thinking go? It's very important to realize that I said we exist on many dimensions. We have so many states within us. So this silence also is a state within you. We simply shifted gears through the technique and through the chant. And we went deeper with the chant. So what I did was shift the gears, and we were doing that through the technique. When we ended up in another state, which actually is always silent. So I didn't create the silence. You had the silence in you. You tapped into it. And this is what happens. Part of us is stressed. Part of us is anxious or has physical disease. But there is a state in you that's absolutely healed. It's absolutely full and wholesome. So we don't heal you. What do? We simply change the focus to that state. We shift to that state which is already healed. People say miracle. Not really, it's not. It's just pure science of being. You know, we shouldn't be taking the credit for these miracles because these is just being clever and knowing that these states exist. So imagine you had 10 rooms in your house and you had the code and the key for every room. And you know exactly what these rooms are, what they're filled with. And you can now use them at will and go into any room. One for joy, one for pain, one for pleasure, one for greed, one for being envious, whatever. And now at will, you will receive what is being held in the room. Such is the case with the psyche. It's all there. It's all there. Part of us is so dangerous. Part of us is evil. We are crooked. We are corrupt. We all have that. Our job is not to transform that. It is to find that state within us that actually is free, where we can coexist together and create the world we want. But all of this is real. It's natural. It will always stay. So you should have the key to your psyche. I'll stop here. We'll see you next week. God bless.
Are you away?
Oh, sorry. I'm not here next week. I'll be in Vancouver or Nanaimo. So I'll do it on Facebook. But we won't have the physical meditation here. Yeah. Okay, goodbye. God bless. And you guys out there, if you like something, do share and let us change the world one thought at a time. Love you.